This is a video about Angry Joe. Everybody's doing like an Angry Joe video. I'm going to do an Angry Joe video. I love Angry Joe. Love Angry Joe. I think he's I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan. I don't play online with him or anything like that. I'm not like Deep Joe, okay? I'm not like Deep Joe, man. Hey, man. Hey, man. It's like, look. Let me say it like this. Let me give you my perspective. And this is my perspective only. And when you do anything, when you build a business, which is what he's done, he has built a business over 10 years. He's done an outstanding job. He has really kind of set the tone, set the pace, built the template. I saw him the other day do a video. And sometimes when you do a business, when you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work at all. You are just like an engine of destruction. You cannot be stopped. You cannot be destroyed. Every idea is gold. You're in the zone. Everything works out. Your popularity begins to grow. You feel like you're destined to be doing what you're doing, and you are. But then it's like after 10 years of it, it becomes a chore in certain ways. And certain things that never bothered you or even fueled you now begin to bother you. I ran a business for 10 years, okay? I loved it. I was my own boss. I was the king of my domain. Nobody gave me any crap. You gave me crap and you were out the door. And I'm not saying that was like my attitude. I'm just saying I helped everybody. But I always reserved, like I had a retail business, okay? And I ran a retail business. I ran it successfully for 10 years. I could still be there. I didn't want to be there. People told me, you're a fool to walk away. I'm like, because once you establish, it's really hard to reestablish again. And I know, but there came a time, and I'm not saying this has happened to Joe. I'm just saying that I did something that I was passionate about for 10 years. And the last couple, mainly the last 2 years, I was good at it. Nobody did it better. I was getting awards and accolades, and I was making great money, and had a beautiful girl, and I had the life, and nobody told me I was the boss of my business. I was the boss of my business. So when you own a business and you have to serve a clientele and you have to serve them effectively, okay, which I did. Again, none better. But opening that door every day for 10 years and doing the same stuff and editing. And the other day I saw Joe was like talking about like getting costumes for a game. They're expensive. You got to get sized, you got to order them. That's big money. You don't get them. He didn't get them in time for the video or the game launch or whatever. Like he had to do, because a lot of this stuff is if you're going to get the views and you're going to support the viewership, it has to be on a certain schedule. That's where I have trouble, because I like to do things at my own pace. So people say, hey, I don't want any more than 20 minutes. I want it to be a punchy video. You're really funny, but you talk too much, or I want you to cover this kind of stuff, not that kind of stuff. And, I want more of the funny costumes, or I want more of this, or I want more of that. I only want your videos to be 20 minutes long. And Metal Jesus said this. He goes, you have to understand that when you start a channel, if you want the channel to be successful, you have to channel your energy to what the viewers want. And one of the probably the wisest things he said in his advice to new YouTubers was that the videos that are successful for you may not be what you want to do all the time or at all. You might have just done it on a lark, like I've done a few, just like, oh yeah, I can do that, and I can use my green screen, and I can create that, and then I've got these props, and I can do it, and I want to do it. I'm excited. I'll take all afternoon and I'll do it. And I love it. And those are some of my most popular videos where I'm getting thousands of views versus hundreds of views or even tens of views. Okay? So it's like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if you want the channel to grow more or grow faster or be more robust, then you need to channel your energies into these type of videos. And I've kind of done that, but then I still do the kind of videos that I like. And it's not always what your clients are going to like, and I say clients, but viewers, all right? Same difference, man. Same difference. It's a customer. You're providing a product. The product's entertainment. And with Joe's been doing it high energy for a long time. And you have to remember, how old is he now versus then? Retro Gamer 3 actually did a video that I think is very apropos in this scenario, where he said, those really wacky videos that I used to do with the really cool story and a lot of weird cinematography, and they're dank and they're funky and all that stuff. He goes, I'm not going to do that anymore. He's like, I'm just going to do my commentary. I'm going to rate what I want to rate. If I want to talk about Trump or the election, I'll talk about that. If I want to talk about the games I'm making, I'm going to talk about that. If I want to talk about the game culture and stuff like that, I'm going to talk about that. And I'm just going to talk, me and my mic, and it's just going to be commentary, which is great because I like Retro Gamer 3. But what he did in a video was he transferred the gauntlet. He said, I want you, if you want those kind of wacky videos, because his viewers are asking for them. They're like, hey, man, what happened? Remember the one where the N64 tried to eat you and it was like a horror movie and all that? Why aren't there more videos like that? He doesn't want to do that anymore. He's a grown man. He says that too. He says in his videos. He's like, look, I'm a grown man. I'm going to do this now. He goes, if you want to watch like crazy antics around video games, I recommend this guy. I don't remember who it was, but it's some young guy who makes ridiculous, stupid nonsense. And it's funny. It's good. It's not something that I would watch on a regular basis. I prefer Retro Gamer, honestly, even than the new format. But he basically said, look, I'm not that guy anymore. I'm a grown man. I'm in my 30s or 40s maybe, and I'm not doing it. And here's Joe. You could tell Joe started off in his just 20s. And again, high energy, high passion, costumes, props, production. And then he's going, and they're like, well, crazy or Angry Joe's getting lazy. No, he's not. He's grown up. He's grown up. And then it's the logistics and the reality of it. See, you know what? When I saw Angry Joe talk about the costumes, he's like, man, I ordered these costumes. The costumes were late. I had to make the video, so I just had to cut the video, and I just canceled the order. And he goes, that's the second or third cancellation where I've had to cancel them, where they said I was going to have the outfits, and they didn't have them. Because he's doing game release videos. He wanted to do costumes, so he's going out of his way. He's placing orders. He's spending probably thousands of bucks, and he's saying, hey, can you get these costumes to me at X, Y, and Z? They're saying yes, and then they're canceling or they're delaying and they're pushing them out. And he's like, dude, do you understand that it's a release date? I'm up against a release date. I have to have these costumes if I want to do the video the way I want. And whoever he's getting these costumes from, they have sabotaged it, and not sabotaged, but the inability to fulfill has sabotaged his plans for these videos. So he's going the extra mile, he's spending the money, it's not working out, and he's like, man, I gotta cut the video anyway. Why am I going all this pain in the ass? Why am I going through all this, man? I'm just gonna cut the video and keep it simple, keep my life simple. Again, that's more of a mature, unfortunately, it's more of a mature attitude where you're like, dude, I've got to do my live streams. I've got to keep up with my social media. If I'm selling merch, which I think he sells merch, I'm selling merch. I'm doing all of these things. I got to do my taxes. I got to do this. I got to do that. He's running a business, and he's done it for 10 years. Okay? So he needed a break. I mean, that's a sign. And then he wants to take, he goes, it felt so good, I want to take another one. That's a sign of burnout. And we all get there. And it's usually when you're super passionate and you're high energy, usually takes you about 10 years. And like I said, usually that last 2 years, things start to get to be a chore. And it's like, you're like, man, do I want to keep doing this? I want to keep doing it because I love it. But then there's all this extra, and then there's the expectation I created for the viewers. And then the viewers are making demands on me. And everybody's making such a big deal about him turning off the comments. Here's the thing. Everybody wants to be, I think a lot of people like, oh, cyberbullying and you're kind of a whiner or whatever. Words have power. Statements, energy, they don't, I heard one guy say they don't call it spelling for nothing because you're creating a spell with your voice. There's a power to your emotions and feelings and words and all of it, okay? And depending upon where you're at in your mind, especially if you're burnt out, those words can have an increased power and weight. So it's just, again, burnout is something where you're worn thin. When you mean worn thin, what do you mean by worn thin? It means that all the cushion that was regularly there is no longer there. You're down to the bare medium of who you are. And one negative comment can feel like 100 or 10 or whatever. It's a higher magnitude. He might have laughed stuff off before, but he may not be laughing it off now, and it may be bothering him. He may be feeling like the tail's wagging the dog. That's a burnout emotion. When I'm not the boss of this, it's the boss of me now. Because again, what does it mean to be the boss? When you come in and you're driving the creativity and you're making creative decisions and you're doing things on the fly and you're creating this content and it's unique and entertaining and exciting and creative and and all these things, you're driving it, you're using your will to create this. That's being the boss. But when you have to get up, you have to cut video, you have to make sure it's not a single length, you have to make sure you're wearing funny costumes every time, people are complaining, your viewership is making demands on you. You started something like now you're making videos, you're doing live plays, you're on Twitch, you're doing all these things, and all of a sudden what was easy is now become very difficult to do every single day. And that's the thing about it, is when you're in a business, especially like if you're in a retail or if you're in hard retail, like you have a store, you have a location, and you're in competition, and you have to come in and turn that key every single day. That's what burns you out. It's every single day, every single game release, every single thing. You have to be there, and he's driving it. He might have a little help here and there. He may be paying somebody here and there, but it's him. Again, like in my store, if I wasn't physically there cutting the deals and helping the customers that loved me, I made a lot less money. I paid good people, but I made a lot less money when I wasn't there. Every time I wasn't there, I felt like it cost me money. And that wears on you. You're tied to it. You're chained to it because it becomes a cult of personality. And that's never more true than Angry Joe and the Joe Army. It's a cult of personality. And if he's not there to drive it every single day, people are like, oh, where are you going? What are you doing? Why aren't you on the Twitch? Why didn't you cover this game? Oh, why is it in just the format of you sitting there in the thing? Where's other Joe? Where's this? Where's that? I mean, again, the tail begins to wag you. And the only cure is time away. But then again, time away sabotages what you've built. But you come to that's where you get burnt out, because you go for so long past the point of no return, because in your heart is that once you walk away, you may never come back in the same state or be able to maintain the same level. And that is absolutely true. You won't. You have to evolve into something different. I walked away from my business. I liquidated. I could have sold it for a great deal of money. I just walked away. I was done. I was way past the point of no return. And I was to the point where I'm like, man, I don't want to turn that key on that door. I was the boss. I earned great money. I was respected in the community. I knew exactly what I was doing. I was talented. I was sought after for my opinion, etc. I had friends and coworkers, and I employed nice people, and But after 10 years, I just did not want to do that anymore. Didn't matter how good it was. Didn't matter how successful it was. I mean, people give their eye teeth to have what I had in that business, to live that dream, and I lived the dream. That's the problem, is you live that dream, you get to the end of it, and it's just more dream. But you have to keep breathing life into it. And when you're burnt, you don't want to breathe more life into it, it will wither and die. But you can evolve into something different, and that's what Joe is trying to do. He's trying to say, I'm turning the comments off, I'm backing away a little bit, it's too demanding, it's pulling too much. I was like, when you constantly breathe life into something you're not passionate about, you're breathing your own life out, you're breathing your own life into it. And you only have so much. You only have so much to give on a day-to-day, and the longer you do it and the more you put on yourself, that becomes the thing. You got to think about it. Other Joe doesn't have his own section of his channel that I've seen. I mean, he's part of it, but he doesn't have anybody else to really draw to. He doesn't have another personality. What he should do is build his network up so that he introduces other personalities that can cover and continue the keeping up with the production. I mean, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So I feel for Joe. I don't know if I'm exactly where he's at, but I kept hearing and seeing things that spoke to burnout. And burnout there's no solution to burnout other than time away. And how do you keep your channel and all your people and all this stuff that you've built? You have to trust other people, you have to bring other people on board, and you have to step away and consolidate some of what you're doing so that it's more manageable for a little while. And some fans are going to understand that, and some fans are not. But he's going to do it because there's no choice. Once you hit that burnout point, changes have to be made. So I would, if any of Joe's fans, ever come across this video, give him a break. Give him a break. I'm a Joe fan. I'm anxious to see what is in store for Joe in the future. He's one of the guys that inspired me to make my channel, so I got a soft spot for Joe. And he's just a rat bastard. I love it, and I love the attitude. So, super creative guy. So, this is El Viejo Toro with my commentary on Angry Joe. And there you go. What do you know, Joe? A real American gamer. Angry Joe is there. Angry Joe. Wow. Didn't expect that, but there it is. Peace. Years ago, I warned that corporate-style game development was on its way. Well, now it's here. Microtransactions, day one DLC, paying full price and getting half a game. So are you going to be a fanboy? Are you going to be an apologist for these corporate-style games? Or are you going to take action and step into the arena for the game wars? I'm Rex Pons for Where's Games Heals, because there's a war on for your game. Day one DLC, half a game for all the money. And that's been a plan from the beginning. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to be a fanboy? Are you going to be an apologist for the greedy corporate kingpins of gaming? Or are you going to stand up for games and game culture like we do here at Where's Games? Get in the fight before we have another No Man's Sky or Mass Effect Andromeda. You have been warned. You have been warned.
Where'sgames.com, because there is a games on for your wear.